I'm gonna dive in today. I'm gonna talk a little bit about a concept. I was having a discussion with uh, a few friends, and just want to kind of share my thoughts about the whole job security thing, financial stability. Uh, Obviously, I'm on the side of the fence of financial stability, but I think we oftentimes take job security in the wrong context. I'm spilling my water. So, how are you guys doing? So, a little bit thing. I know it's been a while since I've been on here, and I definitely appreciate everyone who's in the Money Talks group. If you haven't had a chance, go ahead and uh, join us. Be it Facebook, just type Money Talks into the search bar, as well as Money Talks has a YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe there. Appreciate all your support. But yeah, today I'm going to talk a little bit about the job security and financial stability. So by now, many people have understood, and this whole situation has really kind of called into question a lot of different things. Uh, are you an essential job worker? Do you uh, have stable employment? Things of that nature. And those are things that when you're applying for credit or when you're trying to make life decisions, you oftentimes look for secure employment and you look at your job to provide that. And I was that same way. It's honestly one of the most consistent messages I've got coming up from my mom. She always wanted me to, or liked when I worked for a well known company, because that oftentimes gave her the illusion that, hey, I'll be all right. This job will be able to provide for me. And the fact is, as I started to grow up and I left jobs or the job asked that we part ways or however the situation may be, I'm not working there anymore. One thing that was consistent was I could not depend on uh, the job for payment or to try to discuss or make the goals and dreams that I had set for myself. And that's not a bad thing. I know plenty of people who have been at their jobs a long time. I know plenty of people who work for the same company for 20, 30 plus years. It's just not something I harp or believe heavily in. And mostly because the more I started to dive into my financial literacy and really trying to help others, I realized on the other side of the coin, I'm dependent on someone in the organization really looking out for essentially my best interest, what I have, being concerned about my needs. And when you think about business, the business does have a section where they care about their employees, right? They care about how their employees are well, and they want their uh, employees to be financially, emotionally, and physically well. But the other larger part of any organization is it cares for itself. It cares that the organization survives. It makes decisions based on what is going to make the organization successful, not what is going to make Jonathan successful. Same thing with bosses. They're making, or they have to have conversations with you, or have you do certain tasks that it may not be something that you like to do, or you would, if you had a choice, that would be the first thing you would pick up. No, they make choices and assign you tasks and projects that make the best for their division, productivity, which ultimately leads to the organization's growth. And so my biggest thing that worry, and one of the things that I've come up with, and one of the things that I hope if everyone can just kind of take a step back of the situation that they're in now, that you actually look back and look at your current scenario and say, hey, am I dependent on this organization to fund my dreams? Is that really a viable long term plan? Because the fact is, your needs and wants do change and they do evolve. And so maybe you're making 50,000, 55,000, or 75,000, but your needs, maybe you add children to the equation, or maybe a spouse loses income, or maybe you have to take in a loved one. Your situation, your needs change, but the fact is that job, your pay rate, that's going to stay the same. And so when you look at job security, your best job security is really yourself. What skills, what abilities, what experience can you develop and ultimately change through or go through different sectors of the economy to actually make sure that you ensure that you have your own viable source of income within yourself. That's what led me to the financial stability idea. So when you think about financial stability, most people really start to look at, hey, I have investments, my house paid off, things of that nature. But the fact is, you may not be financially independent, but you can be financially stable. And financially stable is kind of simply, hey, I might have debt, I have good control of that. I have an emergency fund. I have income that supports me. But if my income doesn't isn't there, like many of you are in a situation where you may have been furloughed, laid off, business shut down for whatever reason, my current situation, the current cash I have, it will stabilize me and keep me going for 1 year, maybe 2 years, 3 years, whatever the case may be. And if you need more cash, maybe you need to sell a big asset, and that will make your cash or your situation last that much longer. That's the importance of being financially stable when you look at, hey, you can have a lot more control of your situation. And all this pandemic and all the lockdown, all those different things, it just rocked the instability of it because essentially the economy runs off trust. Credit is trust. You trust that your job is going to pay you in every 2 weeks. You trust, and the banks trust that you're going to make your payment on time. Well, what happens when something like this pandemic causes a more health serious nature to where everyone really has to stay at home? That's very, very earth shattering. And it's one of those things where, yeah, had you prepared, had you understood that, okay, I need to have a certain amount of cash on hand. Will I be able to work through this? What maybe I can't work in the industry I was working in. Am I able to move to a different industry that it now has a larger demand? These are the things that you have to look at to start to formulate how do you get financial stability and mesh that with your job stability. So I don't want you to actually think of, hey, if I work at Costco, if I work at a bank or anything like that, any given day as the economy shifts and changes, and it does change and it does move at a rapid rate, your job could essentially not be essential anymore. So a good, I know I put out a post probably a couple weeks ago when this whole thing started, and one of the things I said, hey, maybe the question isn't is your job secure, but is it essential? And that question or that statement was more telling you that, okay, it might be essential in this scenario. Well, what if we have a different type of pandemic where maybe the travel industry is okay and health insurance industry is doing okay, but like in 2008 or other recessions before, other industries might take a hit. Is your So you can't necessarily look at a job per se. Look at, hey, do I have the skills that can be transferable in this industry? And what am I doing with my income so that I don't have to necessarily depend on the decisions that somebody else is making. And that's really where that job security idea comes. You're really dependent on, hey, this CEO is going to make the best decision for me. My manager is going to make the best decisions for me. I know I worked in financial services for a long time. And if any of you have been on a coaching call for me, one of the most shocking things that I found out when I first started working for the bank and working through several banks is you'll be surprised at how many people that are in high level positions or just working for the bank in general that don't do well or can't necessarily manage their finances well. It's not to point the finger or anything like that, but when you look at, hey, look what realm you in. That's like saying, hey, I need to go see a doctor, but the doctor doesn't necessarily know how to fix or treat health related issues. That and he works at a hospital. That's not a good scenario. So this is the thing that you have to understand that when the blind is leading the blind, it really is up to you in a lot of cases. It's up to you for you to win with your finances. It's up to you for you to make your not your job secure, but your skills secure. Do you need to learn something new? And ultimately, what got you to 50K won't be the thing that gets you to 100K. If you're still trying to grow, you likely won't stay at the same place because depending on how fast you are wanting to grow, that organization may not have the same need to grow with you. So you might outgrow personally your institution. That's what this time can do for you. Not to say, hey, when this is all over, you guys need to be going to leave your job or people need to automatically shift to business. That's not what I'm saying. I do think there are people who need to be small business owners, and there are also people that need to work within those organizations. But as an individual, regardless of the circumstances that you are in, you have more control, you have more options than what you think. Then it's one of those situations, and one of the things I do on my calls with people is I like to give them the options that make the most sense for them and that will help them move quickly. So that way they know what they're turning down. They know, hey, I can get out of this thing quickly. I might not be willing to do that. So uh, that's most important. But to sit back and wonder or not even know if you have any options, that's definitely concerning. Shoot questions if you're on here. Go ahead and I'll answer what I can, what I get to as I begin to wrap this up. But more importantly, I want you to understand this all boils down to personal responsibility. Whether you're job secure, whether you're financially secure, the key piece in all this is you. The key piece in all the millionaire books that I've read and people that I've talked to and people who are successful that may not be millionaires, thing is every last one of them says it's their fault if they're not doing well in any particular area of their life. It's their fault when their marriage could have failed, but there are things they could have done. It may not have worked anyway, but the fact is it's their fault. They take some responsibility. They take some ownership of that problem. If I make a bad decision or something bad happens, whether it's financially, whether I left a job, whatever, I ultimately look at that scenario as, hey, it's my fault. I did X. That's, you know what I mean? That's factual. It's just whether or not that job or that organization or that person I was with wants to use that X as the thing for us to part ways. So take responsibility of your finances. It's definitely one of the best times to do it. Sit down, write the budget. That right there will start to let you know that you can have control over your scenario. Because when you write the budget, you will quickly assess and you will quickly see that, hey, I only really need what, $2,500 or $1,500 a month to survive. And if I only need that, what are some things that I can do to generate cash? That's how you want to start to approach this problem. What is the bare essential thing that you need to do? Put the pride aside, take responsibility for it, and then go do it. Don't sit, don't delay, because even if you do have savings on the side and things of that nature, well, it's good to have that. But when you're just sitting and your savings is dwindling, that savings will run out. So it's important that you understand that I'm going to need to go to work at some point. Hopefully, this pandemic will be over before that piece has happened. But do you want to leave from what you're seeing now? Do you want to leave that as a chance or a possibility? And for me, if I have a family, which I do have a family, or a wife, things of that nature, do I want to put my spouse in that type of scenario? No, it's no longer about me. Even if I don't want to, I'll go generate whatever cash to keep it going, to keep my stability going. No matter what the job is, because the job only needs to pay what my bills are. And by paying my bills, I extend the life of the emergency fund. I still extend the life of the financial stability scenario that I'm trying to create. So choose yourself. You can control it. Really lean more to try to do what you can to be financially stable. Really look at this scenario to start to understand that, hey, there are things that will occur in this economy that are beyond any of our control. But there are things in our situations, there are things we can do that can control our scenario. I told you guys in the group probably last year, about September, October. I can't remember the post exactly, but one of the things that I said was, hey, it was a recession coming. When I first got married, one of the things that I used to hear was, Jonathan works three jobs. Jonathan works all the time. And the thing is, there were things and measures I need to put in place so that should the unexpected occur, which this pandemic lockdown is unexpected, we, my wife and I, my house is prepared. In this chaotic time, we can be calm, we can make good decisions, we will be all right. The same thing, I know a lot of you are have kids and things of that nature. Your kids may be tense because you are tense. You have to kind of take personal responsibility. Yeah, I may have made some bad choices, I may have made some bad decisions. Guess what? That decision is over. What can you do now? What can you do going forward? What decision are you going to make? How can you get help? How can you learn what your true options are? How can you start to develop what's going to be the thing that takes you from here forward so that even if you're going to be impacted, you lessen the bleeding of the blow? So I hope that's kind of helpful for you. I don't want you to go back or come out of this saying, "Oh, I hate my job" or anything like that. It's not that. It's just set your expectations correctly. Expect a lot of yourself. Don't expect others to do what you need to do for yourself. Because in business, the business has to think about the business. You have to think about you, and you have to make decisions based on you. You may change before that business change. So really look at, hey, what can I do to stabilize my situation? Job may be still here, great, but that gives you an opportunity of, okay, I'm not feeling real good. The messaging is kind of messing with my mind a little bit. What can I do to stabilize my situation? So April is Financial Literacy Month. A couple things coming up. Tomorrow, I'll have a guest with me, the original, the intelligent goal getter, Kimberly Burke, will be on with me. We'll talk about goals in this time, things you can do, how you can make yourself or help yourself move forward. Also, there's still free coaching available. I know I haven't been able to post it as much. I need to set that reminder, but all the month of April, appreciate all the people I've been able to that have reached out and I've connected with, and definitely hope you've gotten value and some next steps so that you can actually take better control and find some opportunity in your money. But yeah, that opportunity is still available through the month of April. Again, the YouTube channel is live and going. Usually try to upload about 3 times a week. So go ahead, if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe to that channel. There'll be more things. I know I uploaded a video last night. I just announced it in the group today. But stay safe, you guys. This time will pass, but in every scenario, whether you got in an accident in your car, whether you've been broken up with a loved one, got in a relationship, whatever the situation is, look, do not let something adverse happen to you that you don't allow positivity to help you go forward. In every scenario that I've been in, I've been able to look back and it's been able to change me and ultimately help me go forward. So I would encourage you, if it's a pandemic or if the lockdown is causing you to have disputes with loved ones, or um, you're not connecting with friends, or you don't really like your job as much, whatever the case what may be, do not leave this scenario without learning something that's positive that